Time to check in with your sports, and we have brought the sport outside of the studio because it is just T-minus 4 days and then the Olympic Games is going to be getting underway in Paris with the opening ceremony. And for the first time, it's actually not going to be taking place in the main Olympic stadium. It's actually going to be taking place on the River Seine. So they're going to have about 6,000 athletes going down the river for a stretch of 6 kilometers on boats and barges and live in person. They're expecting around 500,000 people. It's also raised a lot of security concerns, which is why they've got over 45,000 security members in Paris that will actually be making sure that everything is safe and everything goes according to plan at the Olympic Games opening ceremony. There'll be many more people watching on television, and the host broadcasters here in South Africa and actually for the sub-Saharan region is of course SuperSport. And tonight they, in anticipation of the Olympic Games and their Olympic offering, they're going to be showing a documentary which is going to be available to all of the viewers. I'll find out a little bit more about what exactly we can expect. We've got Head of Marketing Ryan Cumming chatting to us. A very good evening. Thanks for chatting to Newzroom Afrika. So what can we expect for the Olympic Games in 2024?
Well, Vaylen, thanks for being here first of all. I don't think there's an event that's more iconic than the Olympic Games, and at SuperSport our goal is to bring people closer to their champions, and so we're offering a very extensive coverage of the Olympic Games this year with 8 dedicated channels, as well as 5 streaming channels and 4 overflow channels. We're also proud to be implementing an innovation called the Super Screen. It'll be available on channel 199. Which will give people kind of a snapshot into 8 different split screens on what's happening at any given time on the Olympic Games. Obviously, the Olympic Games represents a lot of scale and variety in terms of the events and the athletes on display, and so we really want to bring as much of that as possible to our viewers and really bring them closer to their champions.
You guys have got differing bouquets, and we used to seeing some of your premier events, your Springboks, your national teams only set for some subscribers. Are all your subscribers across all the bouquets going to have access to the content?
Yes, so the Olympic Games are going to be available to all of our DStv packages from Access and above. And so each of those packages will have a different set of channels which will be made available to them. But of course, with the goal of making the games accessible to the viewers who are our subscribers. There is a SuperSport Grandstand channel which will be available to premium customers. That channel will curate the best of the Olympic Games content on a daily basis. And that channel will also boast a host of amazing world-class Olympians and analysts, the likes of Ryan Cumming, Godfrey Mokoena, Lawrence Ndlovu, to name a few. So we're really excited about what we've got on offer, and we are sure that the Olympic Games are going to offer a huge amount of entertainment value to our customers.
This evening we're all here in anticipation with the Olympic Games getting underway in just 4 days' time for a documentary about the Olympic Games, because it's been 100 years since the French capital actually hosted the Olympiad. So this is in celebration of that centenary. Can you tell us a little bit more about this documentary and some of the other documentaries that we can expect?
Yeah, so tonight we are having a screening of the documentary Paris 1924, 100 Years On. It's a production, a video vision production, in association, of course, with Anand Singh, and so we're proud to have this this documentary and film on our platforms. It's also going to be made available across our Showmax offering as well, together with a whole host of supplementary and adjacent Olympic Games content, and that's obviously just to offer our customers and consumers as much content as possible that might pique their interest. I think one of the really amazing things about the Olympic Games is that it means something different to each different viewer and individual. And so being able to boast a variety of content allows each individual on a human level to try and connect with the Olympic Games in some way, whether it's a live event, of which we'll be broadcasting over 900, or if it's a piece of documentary film.
We have seen how South African viewers really love sports documentaries, in no small part because of what Chasing the Sun did and what it meant to so many South Africans. Are you also, is this part of the reason why it's important to show these sporting documentaries? And do you guys also see that as an avenue to bring in other people that may not necessarily be interested in sport into a sporting space?
Absolutely, Vaylen. I think one of the things we tasked ourselves to do at SuperSport is to connect people to their passion for sport, but that might not necessarily be an avid fan. People are interested in sport for a variety of reasons nowadays. Casual fans are in it for the experience. They might be in it for the human story behind an athlete, and so live sport obviously offers a huge amount of value, but supplementary content like documentary films also allows people to connect and engage in a different way. So it's a big part of what we like to offer from a SuperSport perspective.
On to something else now. Last week we saw the reports that MultiChoice will no longer be the headline sponsors of the Premiership, South Africa's top flight football. Can you maybe give us a little bit of insight into what this means, what was behind the decision, and also what the commitment is going forward to South African football from SuperSport's point of view?
So I can only comment from a SuperSport perspective as the host broadcaster of local football. And so from that perspective, we are going to be hosting and boasting a variety of local tournaments. In terms of how those tournaments are structured in relation to their title sponsorships, we have to wait and see what gets announced officially via the PSL. But obviously from a SuperSport perspective, we know that local football is a hugely entertaining part of our offering, and we want to be able to offer that to our customers as best as possible. And fortunately, over the course of the last season, we saw a drastic increase in terms of viewership on local football. So we know that there is still an interest, and despite what may or may not happen in terms of the sponsorship, SuperSport will offer all of the coverage as we have in previous seasons. We are the only broadcaster which is able to broadcast all of local football matches live. And so it really does offer a unique reason for customers to subscribe to any one of the DStv packages which carry local football.
Speaking about sports with a national interest, we've heard a lot from our Minister of Sports saying that he wants to have engagements with SuperSport, that there should be properties of national interest that are available to other free-to-air channels. Is that something that has SuperSport met with the Minister and discussed this?
Again, I can only comment from a SuperSport marketing function perspective. I do know that there have been engagements between the Minister and some of the regulatory personnel, but I'm not really at liberty to comment as I'm not in those meetings.
Ryan Cumming is the head of marketing here at SuperSport, and it's all about building up to the Olympic Games, which, as he says, they've got a lot to look forward to, and of course a variety of different things to look forward to as well. Not only the live content, but also something like what we're going to be seeing tonight, which is a documentary celebrating 100 years since the last time that Paris hosted the Olympic Games in 1924. And Stephen, that's how we come to the end of your sport. I will be here for more sport on News at Prime.